From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a big evening of Evenings LALATE with incredible great details about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. In tonight's recording, we have a lot of breaking news you've seen for the first time in this recording. First, we'll go over those monthly stimulus checks and how many checks you're going to get and why you're likely to get more checks from the Democrats. Then we cut to the recon. Deal done. $4.3 trillion of checks. Excuse me, $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to you under the fourth stimulus recon. This is not checks for children. This is checks for all of us, seniors, workers, and more. And then in the final 15 of the final 7, the breaking news, the vote set for this week on the bipartisan, the roads and bridges. But over the weekend, Nancy Pelosi and Ron Portman warred over words. Today, they were back warring again. And did Nancy call Ron Portman's bluff? And what happened? Oh boy, you're going to see a big one tonight. And you're also going to see Plan B. And Plan B may be taking formation tomorrow morning. Oh boy, it's moving very quickly. Then we got to fifth stimulus, which raises your benefits up lifetime and gives you a new benchmark if you're on SSI and SSDI and VA benefits. Finally, we cut to the big money across the board that viewers continue to get. And one viewer over this weekend got $17,000 for rent. It's your night to get this money as well. It's a big night with breaking news as Ron Portman's bluff is called, and you will see whether he buckled or whether he delivered the cards. It's a big night starting right now on Evenings LALATE. Beautiful evening tonight. You know, last night there was rain in LA. Yeah, you heard me right. There was rain in LA. I thought it was a dream. Yeah, there's just never rain here. And suddenly it rained, and it kept on raining. So it's absolutely immaculate here. It's clean. It smells wonderful. The flowers are in full bloom. And then Ron Portman came along. Yeah. Jump in the live chat. Tell me how the weather is where you are. He was not here in LA. Yeah, we have not let him in. Jump in the live chats. Tell me how you are and where the weather is. How you are and where you are and how the weather is tonight. In this fourth stimulus check update 2021, we're going to go over the breaking news. The recon is a done deal, $3.5 trillion of checks, but the Democrats are likely to give you more checks, stimulus checks, because of some other developments. Then the second half of this video, we'll go over that $3.5 trillion deal done. And what are these checks for? Checks for all walks of life, not checks for children. That was third stimulus. This is fourth stimulus. The deliciousness will be revealed. And then we cut to the bill, the vote. Ron Portman was representing there would be a vote on the bipartisan roads and bridges this week. And he said, call the vote. I'm ready to go. Well, Nancy called his bluff. And did he fold in his cards? You got to stay to the final 15 of the final 7 because it is insanely delicious news. And then we cut to fifth stimulus, which heats up this fall with a raise up of your benefits a lifetime. This is my SSI, SSDI, and VA representatives. Viewers, this is what's promised you, and it's what's going to be delivered. And finally, the big money across the board. $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. Nisi getting $23,000. A new viewer over the weekend getting $17,000 for rent. And someone on Noontime today said they got $10,000, $11,000 for rent. Congratulations. And this is LA, America's only 24-hour day, 7 days a week. Financial News Channel America, live in the morning and taped in the afternoons. Coming up next is Overnight's Crypto, then Sirloin at 8 o'clock. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record in 1 year. I want you part of this family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Let's get right into that monthly stimulus check, starting right now. The House bill, Senate proposal, both monthly, but suddenly the House bill seems the more logical choice. Why? It's this provision, pandemic plus 1 year, House bill. And then let's look at the Senate approach, monthly, July to December. Let's look at this House. $1,000 after the first month of 2000. Senate approach monthly unknown, but word on the street is it's this. Deliciousness, $2,000 over 6 months, $12,000, or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400. 4 weeks ago, we thought the pandemic was maybe not over. 3 weeks ago, we realized it was not over. 2 weeks ago, we realized it's really not over. And last week, we realized it's far from over. With that in mind, the House bill, pandemic plus 1 year, would pay more than just 1 year. It would pay pandemic plus 1 year monthly stimulus checks. That would be more than 12 checks, more than 12 months, and certainly more than $13,000. Compare that to this. I think you have an opinion. I think you have an opinion. Jump in the live chat right now and vote House or Senate. Vote House or Senate. Tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. Do you have rain? If you have rain, send it back over here. We'd love some more. So there you go. Who gets that fourth stimulus check? Democrats represent that. If you got the third, you get the fourth. Single individual, 75,000 or less, you get the fourth stimulus check. Democrats represent. Married couple, 150,000 or less, Democrats represent. You get a fourth stimulus check. Double it. And if you're on benefits, Democrats represent. You get a fourth stimulus check. SSI, SSDI, and VA. Finally, family of four, Democrats represent. You get a fourth stimulus check. Quadruple it. The fourth stimulus check is not income. It's not taxable. The fourth stimulus check would be the same amount for adult dependents and everyone else. The fourth stimulus check is a monthly stimulus check. It's not a waivable check. And I learned my lesson about that last weekend. I was at Mitch's Lobster Fest. I saw him from afar. And I went up to him. I said, hello, Senator McConnell. How are you? Hello, Ellen. How are you? Good, good. I wanted to come up and wave, rather than wave at you from afar. I wanted to come up and say hi. I don't like waving at people from afar. Elaine, I'm not a waivable check. I looked at him. I said, well, Mitch, you're not a monthly check either. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. Security. The fourth stimulus check is a monthly stimulus check and not a waivable check. And the Democrats represent you would get the fourth stimulus check in the month of July for the month of July, and in the month of August for the month of August. But in the second part of this video, we'll go over the deal. Done. Deal. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to the American people under the fourth stimulus recon. It's a done deal. As to price and as to passage, the Democrats have already met and agreed they're passing it with a $3.5 trillion price tag. I'll go over some of this details later in this video. In the third part of this video, we'll go over the vote, the bills, the dates. Ron Portman represented that his bipartisan roads and bridges is ready for a vote among his Republicans this week, but Nancy Pelosi said, oh, I don't know if it really is. Did she call his bluff? And who ended up holding the cards? This is a breaking news report you're hearing for the first time on this evening's LA broadcast. Something that happened minutes ago. So with that, here's a preview of the fifth stimulus as well. It's coming up later in this video. It raises your benefits up if you're on SSI, SSDI, VA. Yes, this is what you were promised during the campaign trail, and it's finally happening. But first, let's get some money. Boy, you've been killing it. If you got in rent from this channel, post in the live chat. If you got in utilities, post in the live chat. If you got in Snap, post it as well. Viewers are getting a fortune from this channel, and the numbers are just shocking and wonderful. I have been reporting videos where I said $5,000 for rent. Viewers are now getting $20,000 for rent. Nisi, congratulations. One viewer on Saturday got $17,000 to $18,000 of rent. Yes, our second highest payout in many weeks. Then, when we turn to utilities, I was saying $300 for utilities. Viewers are getting now is upwards of $3,000. When we talk about Snap, I said $5,000 to $6,000. Viewers like John are getting $10,000 to $12,000. Congratulations, John. And Louis, $18,000. Oh my goodness. What's going on? This is the big money that's available for you. So get a pen and paper ready. I'm going to go over all this big money that's for you. It's available from your different places. And we're going to go over rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and homeowners utilities. This is what this channel does. This channel is about cashing checks, not about tracking checks. In April of last year, this channel launched because people were not getting their EIDL loan or EIDL grant checks. There was no check to track, but I got viewers checks, $25 million of them. They cashed them. And then in fall of 2020, viewers weren't getting the second stimulus check because it was not going out. It wasn't law yet. No check to track. But I got viewers $250,000 of rent checks. And viewers like Tyrone, family of four out of Boston, got $15,000 of rent checks to cash. Paid all his rent all the way to the spring. But now we're doing the same thing. Only difference is you. You're getting enormous sums of money, and I am just so proud of you. So let's start with some rent. But first, let's go over all the details. You're going to consider rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and homeowners utilities. You're going to reach out to different places with different eligibility. So if one says no, reach out to the next. Always apply. Don't ever not apply. Are you ready? Here you go. You're going to reach out to different places, and the keywords viewers tell me are critical for getting approved. You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority. Your county hall, your county housing authority. Your state hall, your state housing authority. Key words you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, or mortgage or homeowners utilities assistance because of COVID. You don't say words they don't know, like stimulus, or Mitch's fan club. They don't know that. No one knows. I mean, does it really exist? I don't know. And there you go. Congratulations, Tim and Linda, who got this wonderful pot of money. The next pot of money is coming back from the Snap. Now, if you've got in rent or utilities, post in the live chat right now. But with Snap, boy, big numbers you're getting. John got $10,000 to $12,000. Congratulations, John. Louie, $18,000. Oh my God, Louie. Great job. Lynn Glenn got it for herself, her son, her mom, and Gail got it as well. What is SNAP? It is money for food. What is the eligibility? Easier than a stimulus check. Where do you get it? Department of Agriculture. How much does it pay? A fortune. A family of four out of Boston now gets upwards of $16,000 a year. Whoa, why so much money? Excuse me, Hawaii, not Boston. Why so much money? Because of two wonderful executive orders, one from Biden, one from Trump, that raise your benefits up 15% between now and December. So go get it. And boy, $15,000, $16,000 for SNAP, family four out of Hawaii. $5,000 for rent, but in case of other viewers, $10,000 to $12,000, and you're killing it. We're only 11 minutes of this video. I got more money right now, and it's coming back from your state. States have been ordered to return money back to you due to overpayment of unemployment benefits due to computer error. Not your computer. It works fine. It's their computer. Where's it landing? Direct deposit. Can you track it? Yeah, call up your state and say, hey, state, where is that check due to computer error? And can you track it with a computer that actually works this time? And finally, the refund check coming back from IRS. This is wonderful, great news. Margaret got it, Cod got it, Michael got it. If you got it as well, jump in the live chat and post your success stories. It's important to understand that every time you post those success stories, you're helping other viewers. That's the spirit of this channel, viewers helping viewers. 3 things happen when you post your success stories for rent, utilities, and SNAP. Number 1, you inspire other people to get it. So if we see 1,000, 2,000 people in the live chat and 200 people getting money, that inspires other people to get the money. Number 2, we realize that there's more sums of money for us to get. So if Art Sullivan's in the live chat and he gets 3 items and you realize, wait, Art got 3, I only got 1, let me get some more. And finally, it updates us about the numbers because suddenly we see bigger numbers than we initially thought. In the case of this IRS refund, we have an update from IRS. It's a waivable check. No joke. IRS says that the latest round of waivable checks came this week, and it was $1,265. Direct deposit started July 14th. Paper checks started July 16th. Another wave starts this week, and next week, a new wave every week this summer. Where's that landing? Direct deposit. When? This month, otherwise in the mail. And can you track it? Sure you can. But first, how much money is it? Let's say it's $9,000 of unemployment benefits. You pay $5,000 taxes, of which $4,000 was your taxes on unemployment benefits. Congratulations. You're getting back $4,000. How do you track it? Go to irs.gov. Do a transcript search. It'll reveal the tax return you filed and the taxes you paid. It'll also reveal stuff you never knew. Stuff that you just sort of wish you never saw. It'll reveal when Mitch was on Star Search and performed his debut song as a tribute to Chuck Schumer. Was it Slave to You by Britney? Can we chop that? We can. As we go into the second part of a Fourth Stimulus Battleground, starting right now. Deal done. $3.5 trillion of the Fourth Stimulus recon is done. The Fourth Stimulus recon is checks for you, checks for all Americans. This is not children's checks. Children's checks was third stimulus. We're on fourth stimulus. And this $3.5 trillion has a fortune of checks for you. All different types of checks covered late in this video, like seniors and workers. How did they get to this spot? By reducing the recon by taking out roads and bridges. Originally, this recon was a behemoth. It had roads and bridges in there. And at the time, Nancy and Chuck thought they could pass it with roads and bridges in there. Well, they asked the Democrats and said, no, not going to pass it. That was before July 4th. So they took the roads and bridges out and shrunk it, and that made the recon then passable. The roads and bridges went over to the bipartisan. The confirmation comes from a conservative publication. The publication confirms my reporting. The higher the price tag was on the recon before, the harder it was to pass. There you go. But by allowing the Democrats to take out some of the spending from the recon and put in the bipartisan roads and bridges, it made the overall price tag of the recon smaller, obviously. In other words, the bipartisan deal made the recon passable. Sorry, Mitch. Sorry to set you up. Now, ironically, it's usually at this point of the video where I say that the Republicans don't feel set up. They adore the recon, and they're looking forward to passing it and calling the vote on it this week. But you're going to see later in this video, a certain person says the Republicans are being set up. Okay. Has he been watching my videos? Interesting. Now let's. There's a lot coming up in the final 15, folks. Trust me. There's a lot coming up. How do they get to this wonderful spot? Well, once the Democrats shrunk the recon, they were able to add a little bit more in there, and they got a price tag they liked, $3.5 trillion, and that wonderful number allowed them to get the payments for the things that they wanted. And here we go. The Representative Richie Torres said that we need to have a recon that goes larger. You got it, Richie. Congratulations, $3.5 trillion. And then Elon Omar, Democrat, Minnesota, all progressives, said we have to have a recon that goes as far as we want it. You got it, Elon. Congratulations, 3.5. The Progressive Caucus was meeting with the White House daily to ensure the recon got big enough, and they got it, 3.5 trillion. How did they do this? By protecting the recon, because Jalapal and Brian Schatz, Democrat of Hawaii, both progressives, she's from Washington, both were confirming that the White House considers the progressive priorities in the recon their own priorities. What is a recon? How does it get voted on? When does it get passed? What is it? What does it look like? Let's go over all those details, and it's really important to know them, especially with all the antics going on in these final 7 days. So recon is your money, and roads and bridges is bipartisan. Those are two easy words that I use on this channel all the time, recon and bipartisan. But what I need to go over with you is other words that broadcast media and also the president are using. So if you hear those words, you know which one is yours. Recon yours is also called reconciliation yours, is also called the budget bill. You'll recognize it by the price tag, $3.5 trillion. You'll recognize it by the people quoted in the article, like a Bernie Sanders. Bipartisan, not your money. That's the roads and bridges, also called infrastructure. How do you recognize it? By its price tag, $1.5 trillion. People quoted in the article about it. Kristen Sinema, Ron Portman, Mitt Romney. Okay, pretty easy then. What is a recon? A recon is a bill written by Democrats for Democrats to be passed by Democrats. Who are the actual authors? The actual authors are House subcommittee members, and there you go. Under the Constitution divides the House subcommittees into different topics based upon what they do. And the House Ways and Means Subcommittee, for example, they do stimulus checks. They also do unemployment benefits. And so they're writing part of the forced stimulus recon. They also have the Senate subcommittees helping them, Democrats with Democrats. When they're all done, all these House subcommittees, let's say there's 10 of them, let's say they got 10 pages, they combine them, send them up to Chuck. 100 pages total. He puts a big S on it. For Laverne and Shirley. For Schumer, no. For Sassy. No. For, seductive. No. For Senate. Yeah, same thing. And there you go. That is your recon bill. Until you have it, we don't have it. And what's important for you to understand is that there's no transparency rule under the Constitution. Those House subcommittee members that are working on the recon don't have to show you what they're writing, don't have to show you what they're taking out, don't have to show you the voting or the taking away or the voting against or voting in favor of it. When we see the recon, we see it. And what mainstream media and myself both agree is that we've not seen the recon because the Democrats don't want us to see it until it's to the finish line. No big deal. It's sort of like a pop singer who has an upcoming album, doesn't want you to see the songs of the album or hear them until the album is released. No big deal. But this is why it's important to understand that if you do see someone, a naysayer, saying, I haven't heard about this in the recon and that, and I haven't heard, well, guess what? No one else has seen the recon either. That's why you haven't heard it. How do we get to this wonderful spot? From Jalapal, who had Rich and Schumer letter saying, call the vote, Chuck, on the recon. That letter was signed by 12 House Democrats who are among the 100-plus who had written the president letter saying, we're going to put monthly stimulus checks in the forced stimulus package. Oh, my goodness. Jalapal's letter is very important because of what's coming up later in this video. Well, can we top that? Yes. As 7 members of that House Ways and Means subcommittee, the same one I just went over, yep, that same one, wrote the president a letter recently saying, we're going to be putting monthly forced stimulus checks in the forced stimulus package. Oh, my goodness. That is a wonderful promise. It is. You got to keep them, Purple Power, to their promises. Keep on pushing. They also represent they're giving you a fifth stimulus check next year. Wow. Can we top that? We can. As the president has gotten the global minimum corporate tax rate now officially a rule. That global minimum corporate tax rate caused the president to go overseas 5 weeks ago for a ceremonial signature, not an actual signature. He signed the law into the treaty into law just a few days ago. And that international corporate tax rate minimum is wonderful great news for the recon. Why? Because it's confusing and it's not in there. Here's what you need to know. That horribly confusing thing that I can barely say, international corporate tax rate minimum, is is wonderful, great news, because when they write the recon, they don't have to put that confusing thing in there. When they call the vote on the recon, they have to put that confusing thing in there. When they vote on the recon, they have to put that confusing thing in there. And when they vote and approve the recon, they don't have to put that confusing thing in there. Boy, can we top that? We can. As we go into the final 15 and the final 7, the most comprehensive coverage you're going to see of the subject matter today, as a lot of breaking news came in from Ron Portman, Nancy Pelosi in just the last half hour. Oh, someone's coin, someone's cards. Yeah, who ended up holding a full deck at the end of the day? I'll go over that in the final 15 and the final 7. We'll go over the bill, the vote, the dates, everything you need to know about what's happening in these last 7 days. I told you there's going to be a lot of fireworks. We are just literally not even done with the first day of the 7 days, and there's fireworks just today. It's coming up shortly. Then we cut to fist stimulus, which raise your benefits up. But something more wonderful than that, the volunteers. If you need help with rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and homeowners assistance, reach out to the volunteers. They're salt of the earth. They're viewers just like you. They can help you get rent, utilities, mortgage, and homeowners utilities if you're having problems getting it. How do you find them? Open to the description of this video. Look for the emoji of a house. Click the link. It sends you over to the community page. That's news.lalate.com/community. On the community page are the volunteers separated from Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Reach out to them. And here's a little bit about them. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds with the final 15 of the final 7 in this recording. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now on Evenings LA as we learn if Ron Portman folded in his cards or Nancy Pelosi called his bluff. It's a big, exciting evening with a lot of dramatics. I told you it's going to be a very dramatic week as the fourth stimulus heats up. In the final 15 of the final 7, you're going to see all the details. Then we cut to fifth stimulus as well. But first, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers is a YouTube record. I want you part of this channel. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video. Every like helps. 3,000 likes. Consider liking across the board. Also, consider becoming a member. The link's at the top of the chat and the pinned comment. But boy, the heat is on, and I'm going to go over all those details coming up next. Now, after this video is Overnight's Crypto. Stay on this channel. The video will take you automatically at Overnight's Crypto as Bitcoin is going through the roof. What happened? I'll explain all the details. Then tonight, Sirloin is back at 8 o'clock. And if you missed our announcement over the weekend, this channel is expanding. It'll soon offer shows every hour upon the hour, if not 2 hours, across the board, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with new shows coming into the lineup. What a week it is, and what a day it is right now. Here is what you need to know starting this evening, is that the president had promised SSI reform and did not deliver it to you after becoming president. So now the Democrats are taking care of it in fifth stimulus. This is the latest fifth stimulus package, and it will start with this. First, raising your benefit limits up, removing the asset limit, adding inflationary benchmark, removing the marriage penalty, and removing the income exclusion. Who is this for? You. First, they'll raise your benefits up. This is if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, SSA, or multiple beneficiaries. Then they'll remove the income cap. I just messed it up. Then they'll apply the benchmark. The benchmark will be applied in December. Now, this legislation will likely go to a vote around a September, October. It will start by drafting in September, out to a vote about October, November. So when they apply the benchmark would be about December. What is the new benchmark? Inflation. Where is it heading? It's transitory. As Jay Powell, the head of the Federal Reserve, testified last week. What is transitory? It's a fancy word to mean temporary spike. That temporary spike, when is it going to happen? Jay Powell said it's December. Oh, yes, right when they apply the benchmark. Yes, this is huge. How high? Well, I've been reporting Wall Street's confirming much the same, about a 5% inflation spike. Whoa, that is deliciousness. So let's go over the analysis. First, they'll raise your benefits up lifetime. Then they'll apply the benchmark. And if it's 5%, your benefits will step up 5%, not just next year, lifetime. Because if the inflation rate the year after that is 2%, then you'll be +2, +5%. It's wonderful news. Next, they're going to remove the asset cap, dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't stay on work. You can't stay on benefits and also have more than $3,000 in hand. Now you have room to have some Crayola crowns in your hand. Nothing muddled about them. And a stimulus check. Nothing muddled about that either. And then they're going to remove the income cap, dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't muddle and also stay on benefits. No muddling on this channel. It says you can't stay on benefits and also work. And finally, the income cap is going to go away. And finally, the marriage penalty is going to go away. Love is going to win, and you'll be able to do a pair dance. Viewers like Rob and Sandy will be able to get married and no longer fear loss of benefits. Your benefits will be restored if you lost benefits because you got married. And that's fist stimulus. Now, if you're on the live chat, you notice people with an emoji of a purple hawk next to your name, and you don't have one. How do you get one? Easy. Click the link that says join here or join as a member. By becoming a member, you're delivered all this money information that's available in the third stimulus. Here's what you need to know, is that third stimulus has fortunes of money for the American people. Not just a stimulus check, a lot of other money. And Purple Hawks, are the viewers of this channel who pounced as first come, first serve when that money came out. But a lot of that money is still available. When fourth stimulus happens, there'll be $3.5 trillion of checks for you to get as well. Under second stimulus, when it became a law last year, there was a $600 stimulus check. I said, fine, I'm going to get you $6,000. I got Tyrone, $14,000. And then when third stimulus became a law early this year, there was a $1,400 stimulus check. I said, fine, I'm going to get you $14,000. I got Nisi, $23,000. I got Louis, $18,000. I got the viewer over this weekend, $17,000 to $18,000 for just rent alone. So consider becoming a member so that all this information is delivered daily to you from the YouTube community page written by me. All right, you ready? Time for the final 15 of the final 7, starting right now with high dramatics in these final hours of the day. And there's going to be details in this video that just happened minutes ago. I'm going to give you all the ramp up to the finality because, boy, it is dramatic. First, deal, done. The recon is done for price tag and for formulation. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to the American people under this recon. This is not children's checks. This is everyone else's checks. Children's checks were third stimulus. This is fourth stimulus. $3.5 trillion. The achievement was heralded by Senator Danny Kean, who said, great. Once you agree upon the price, then all you do is slot the numbers into the provisions. Then Bernie Sanders praised it. Why? Because it's a huge amount, $3.5 trillion. He said he went into the meeting and asked for $7 trillion, slashed in half because he said he got the same payouts for the same programs he wanted, just short a period of time, probably about half the amount of time. So what are some of the provisions that are in that wonderful recon? Well, as you heard earlier in this video, until we see that bill, that S on it, we don't know all of them, but some of them have been leaked to the press, and I have some of them for you right now. This is not all of them, just some of them. Checks and checks. Checks for seniors, checks for workers, and checks for others. First, checks for free school meals for all. Then, checks for tax breaks. Checks for cheaper prescription medication. Checks for immigration reforms. Checks for farmers. Checks for elections. Checks for closing the digital divide, which is checks for internet. They're going to provide fortunes to your local cities so they can offer you free internet. Then there are checks for clean energy. And here come my seniors and my workers. First, checks for workers. Checks for independent contractors, checks for bargaining rights, checks for collective bargaining. Then my seniors, checks for Medicare expansion, checks for eligibility age lowered, checks for dental, checks for vision, and checks for hearing care. Whoa, great news. All right, let's turn now to the bipartisan, the roads and bridges. So Mitt Romney 2 weeks ago said that the vote on the bipartisan, the roads and bridges, would be either last week or this week. I said at that time 2 weeks ago, not going to happen last week, it's going to happen this week. Then what did Chuck Schumer do last week? He called a vote on the bipartisan, the roads and bridges, saying not a vote on the bill, but to end discussion of it within a few days. I said it was not going to pass, but I said it was going to work by getting fire under people's feet to get it done. It did not pass, and it did get fire under the feet a lot, because within minutes after that, Ron Portman, Senator, Republican, delivered a letter to Chuck Schumer saying he has 11 Republicans ready to vote and pass the the bipartisan this week. Oh my goodness, that's wonderful news. Remember, the bipartisans, the roads and bridges. Now, why is this great news for us? You know the answer. Because the recon, our money, goes for the vote before the bipartisan. And so if the bipartisan is ready for a vote this week, then our recon can go for a vote this week. Yes. Now, if you've been with this channel over the last few weeks, you've seen that there were some problematic Democrats a few weeks ago, almost a month ago, said, I won't vote in favor of the recon, our money, if the bipartisan bill is not ready for a vote as well. Meaning I have to have everything ready to go at the same time. I'm not going to just do the recon if the roads and bridges is not ready for a vote. Well, now Ron Portman says it's ready for a vote. Throughout the last 48 hours, I've been saying, well, I have to weigh Mitt Romney and Ron Portman, both making representations that the vote is this week on the bipartisan. And what is my opinion of the two people? I put a lot more weight in Mitt Romney. I've covered both people over the last year. They're both Republicans and they're both senators, but Mitt Romney is a totally different person. When he delivers a date, he delivers on the date. When he says he's going to write something, he writes it very quickly. When there's a problem with something, he fixes it right away. He's always delivered. Really, really well and professional. Ron Portman, the antithesis of that. Ron Portman is the guy that in May of last year said, while you're losing your home, your business, and your mind because of the pandemic, said, get back to work. You're lazy on cutting off your unemployment benefits. That's Ron Portman. So if I'm going to weigh the two people, I'm going to put more weight into Mitt Romney. Now, what happened on Sunday? On Sunday, Nancy Pelosi and Ron Portman were booked for the same talk show on morning news. Not at the same time, but within the same broadcast. What did they say? Ron Portman first said, well, the bipartisan is ready for a vote. I have my 11 Republican senators ready to vote on it, and we're ready to pass it this week. Call the vote on the on the bipartisan right away. That's wonderful. He's doubling down. He's basically saying, who's questioning whether I'm ready? I'm making it very clear. We're ready. Let's call the vote. And remember, when that's ready, then our stuff is ready. What did Nancy say? What you expect her to say. She said, well, that's fine, but understand the recon is going for a vote first. Good. No change there. That's what the president, Nancy, Chuck, everyone says the recon goes for a vote before the bipartisan. Well, as of Saturday-ish, Sunday, there was a series of reports circulating out there that the Democrats were readying a plan B, a backup plan. Why a backup plan? Because they don't really believe Ron Portman is the premise of the articles. Of them, only one article I believed on what the backup plan is. They all set up the same scenario, but only one of them had the backup plan, which I believe was accurate reporting. What is the setup first? They all agree upon the setup. They say that the Democrats are looking at the situation and that based upon 15 plus years of Republicans running out the clock on the Democrats at the 11th hour, that the Democrats believe that the Republicans may try to do that again with them this time. What is running out the clock? It looks like this. I'm ready to vote. I'm ready to vote. I'm ready to vote. Let's vote tomorrow. I'm ready to vote. I'm ready to vote the day after. Let's ready to vote. How much more time on the clock? 60 seconds. I'm ready to vote. Oh, you ran out of time. Okay, sorry, we never voted. And then the Democrats are left with nothing. It's happened to the Democrats have been victims of this many, many times over the last 15 years. They do not want to be victims again. Okay, so that is what several articles say is happening. So what is the plan B? What is the backup plan? This is the only article I believe. The backup plan in one article said that Leader Schumer called a meeting with Senate Democrats at the end of last week. And even the most problematic Democrats who had said 3 weeks ago, you have to have the roads and bridges ready because I'm not going to vote on the recon unless the roads and bridges are ready, are all viewing the situation differently now. What? Yeah, they basically do see that they think that the Republicans may be trying to run a clock out on them, and even the most problematic Democrats are apparently sort of done with waiting for the bipartisan group. So what did they agree? The article claims that Plan B by the Democrats is to call the vote on the recon now, even if the bipartisan is not ready. Oh my goodness, this is huge. This is huge. This is a total change of mentality. It's absolutely wonderful. So that was where the reporting on this channel was as of 2 hours ago. So what happened in the last half hour? What happened in the last half hour is at least one conservative publication, which is important to keep in the back of your mind. One conservative publication came out with an article that said, basically, the bipartisan, the roads and bridges, is not ready at all for a vote, and that Ron Portman's bluff was called by Nancy Pelosi, and he has no cards to hold. I told you. I told you I'd put more weight on Mitt Romney. Nancy Pelosi said, yeah, I keep on hearing you want me to call the vote. Call the vote on what? I have 11 senators. I don't believe you do, Ron. I don't believe you do. I think you're just trying to delay and run out the clock. Oh, boy. So the article claims in a conservative publication that the conservatives don't actually have this ready to go, the bipartisan. Remember, the bipartisan is not your money. It's the roads and bridges. And that the Republicans may be setting the Democrats up to run out the clock. Hence why they had a plan B. And then it gets even more interesting. Remember earlier in this video I said, where's my graphic? Sorry, Mitch, sorry to set you up. And I said the Republicans don't feel set up. Someone came out over the weekend and said the Democrats are setting up the Republicans. And guess who said that? Yeah, that guy, the former president of the United States. He reportedly told the Republicans, don't agree to the bipartisan. You've been set up by the Democrats. Don't agree to it because you just enabled them to get their recon approved. They would never have had their recon had you not agreed to the bipartisan. There's no denial in the article that Ron Portman has that in the back of his brain. Mitt Romney certainly would not default to something like that. But, ooh, interesting. This is why Plan B, which seemed like a footnote on Saturday on this channel, may suddenly be the lead story on this channel. That suddenly the Democrats may be pushing right into Plan B quicker than we thought. Again, Plan B is that if the bipartisan roads and bridges is really not ready, and that the Republicans are really trying to run out the clock, or are being told by the former president of the United States, do not agree to the roads and bridges so that the recon falls apart, then maybe it's time for Chuck Schumer to call his Plan B into action. Call the vote on the recon. Don't wait around for those roads and bridges anymore. Oh, boy. There you go. It's a lot to cover, and I'm still not done. All right, so let's go over the voting process. The voting process is important to understand because there are so many, because it is not a one-day, one-step vote. The bill would debut with that S on it, not for Shirley, not for Laverne, not for Schumer, but for Senate. And when they call that vote for the bill for a vote, the reconciliation on the Senate floor, it's not a done deal because the Democrats have actually said that among Democrats, they're going to modify stuff. So when it starts on the Senate side, then it goes over to the House, and then it goes back to the Senate for a 2-day vote-a-rama, and then the president signs it. What did the House Democrats say on Friday? They said, you can't just sort of shove something down my throat as a House Democrat just because it came from a Senate Democrat. I have to have the opportunity to make changes, and trust me, I will. What's important for you to understand is that House Democrats may have been authors in the subcommittees, but that's just a few people. That's just a few people in the subcommittee. The rest of the House has not been involved in the subcommittee. And when they get it, they want to have their bite of the apple. This is great news for you. Why is this great news? Because things get changed. When you see that recon debuted with that Senate, with that S on it, it may be all perfect, not time for celebration, because they may take things out for you, against you. or may not be perfect, may be imperfect, and it's time for you to push to get something put in there that perhaps has been left out. That's what's important for you to understand, is that throughout these steps, Senate, House, back to the Senate for two-day vote-a-rama, they can still make modifications, and all those modifications have the opportunity to help us as well. So you see the dramatics across the board. You understand where we are, but let's get a recap now to wrap this video. We have two sets of paths: roads and bridges, which is also called infrastructure or bipartisan, not your money. And then the recon, all your money, $3.5 trillion of checks, not for children. This is fourth stimulus, not third stimulus. A month ago, several problematic Democratic senators said they would not call vote on our money unless the roads and bridges was ready to be called for a vote shortly thereafter. And if it's not ready, roads and bridges, then they would not call vote on our money, the recon. Well, that may no longer be the case, as Chuck Schumer had a key meeting on last Friday, for Plan B, and allegedly even the most problematic Democrats said, I think we might be being set up by the GOP to not get us anything and to run out the clock. We will agree to call the vote on the recon, even if the bipartisan is not done. Huge news. Huge, huge news. When they debut it, we'll see it on the Senate side as an S bill, Senate, but it's not done yet. They can still modify it, and Democrats on both the Senate and the House side may modify it, and that's where your opportunity is to push. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. You see why this channel is the fastest growing channel of its kind. Really, really elaborate details I have to go into. I want to make sure you know everything across the board. Also, like this video, 3,000 likes. Consider becoming a member so you get access to all this incredible money that's available in the third stimulus. Stay with this video, because coming up next is Overnight's Crypto right after this video. Stay here. It'll take you automatically there. So Lauren is back with us at 8 o'clock. And subscribe, like, and have a beautiful evening. Stay informed, stay focused. If you have any rain, send me some rain. And have a beautiful evening.